You're aware that a Negro family has moved into Levittown.
Yes, I heard about it.
What was your reaction?
Oh, I'm very definitely against it.
Before coming to Levittown, did you have any contact with Negroes?
Well, when I came from a small town where we didn't have any colored people.
Pretty soon, my neighbor will be having a Negro son-in-law or a daughter-in-law. How would that look?
The United States was founded on a myth. It was founded on a myth of white supremacy, that white people were superior and gave them not only authority to decide what was best for everybody else, but a God-given responsibility to do that, to civilize the savages. And those were the people who both created the philosophy and benefited from it, and then used that philosophy to divert resources, rights, representation, and respect to white people at the expense of everyone else.
You know, social construction is an invention. Race is not a biological fact. It's part of the human imagination. And so people need to simply understand that.
The group that owns history, the group that is able to define reality, is a group that has power.
You're not going to be told, well, the United States was built upon slavery and genocide. Its wealth was from enslaving human beings, of which we've never acknowledged nor apologized for. And the genocide against indigenous people are not even on the radar of conversation.
Whenever there is a sign in the dominant society that white Americans might be experiencing some economic losses, the scapegoating, the racial scapegoating begins very quickly.
We have built this country on a foundation of racism. We have built this country on a foundation of slavery. That foundation is still there, and that foundation affects what we have erected, above that.
So when they see the tension, it was there and has been there for generations. They act like it's coming from nowhere. No, it's coming. We can walk you where and how it comes from. And you'd be just as angry too if you were the target of it. It wouldn't be an us and them, and it wouldn't be pigmentation, it wouldn't be ethnicity. It would be, I can't stand being erased and mistreated for no reason. Again, starting with genocide and slavery, where's the word equal in that? And the Declaration, well, it was for white men they were declaring. It wasn't for women, no matter their color, no matter their wealth. It wasn't for indigenous people. It wasn't for enslaved people. So the word equality was bogus from the beginning.
I did a project in the 1990s where I examined that and found old-fashioned racism, beliefs that African Americans are lazy, less intelligent, are still alive and well across this country.
This is something that is being communicated to us by our society, through education, even from parents who are well-intentioned but teach us that people of color are to be feared, they're lesser beings, and they should be avoided.
America's been robbed of an education, and our politicians are robbed of an education. And so without education, you don't have the ability to critically understand complex realities.
In American history, we don't often want to owe up to that between 1880 and 1920, just about every 3 days for 40 years, an African American man was illegally murdered by a mob. So how do you have the Bible Belt and be the Lynch Belt at the same time?
I grew up with a living Dr. King. So I know the truth that the generation growing up now doesn't. And that is, he wasn't lionized and put on a pedestal as a leader. He was a communist, insurgent terrorist. He would not be allowed on campuses because he would cause the violence. They have a sanitized king that never existed.
The clash of racial realities. The racial reality of people of color is different from the racial reality of white Americans.
No one wants to admit the depth of hurt and harm that our ideas and policies have caused. Can you think of any other province of learning that we haven't evolved in our thinking in hundreds of years? The area of race, we're at a standstill.
And I still don't fully understand America at this point. It's a mystery to me.
Our fears override our ability to connect to people.